In the summer of 1966, the Beatles were at the height of their fame, riding the wave of Beatlemania that had swept across the globe. Yet, their popularity did not shield them from controversy, as the band encountered one of the most harrowing experiences of their career during a visit to the Philippines. What began as a routine stop on their world tour quickly spiraled into chaos, culminating in a near ban from the country and a violent confrontation that would leave a lasting mark on the Fab Four. The Beatles arrived in Manila on July 3, 1966, greeted by throngs of adoring fans. However, the reception they would receive from the Philippine government was far less warm. The trouble began when the band unknowingly declined an invitation to a party hosted by First Lady Imelda Marcos. The invitation, which had not been properly communicated to the band by their management, was perceived as a grave insult to the Marcos family, who wielded immense power in the Philippines at the time. Imelda Marcos, known for her extravagant lifestyle and influence, had expected the presence of the world's most famous band at her event. When the Beatles failed to show up, the Marcos-controlled media launched a campaign against them, portraying the band as disrespectful and ungrateful. The situation quickly escalated, turning public opinion against the Beatles almost overnight. The morning after the missed event, the Beatles and their entourage found themselves in a hostile environment. The warm welcome they had received upon their arrival had vanished, replaced by a palpable sense of danger. As they attempted to leave the country, they encountered angry mobs at the airport. The band members, along with their road manager, Mal Evans, were physically assaulted as they made their way to the plane. Local authorities offered no protection, and it became clear that they were being punished for their perceived slight against the Marcos family. The scene at the airport was chaotic. The Beatles and their team were jostled, pushed, and threatened by angry crowds. The experience was both frightening and humiliating for the band, who had never encountered such outright hostility on their tours. The violence they faced was a stark contrast to the adulation they were used to, and it left a deep impression on them. An apology and an acquittal. In the midst of the chaos, Paul McCartney took to local radio to issue an apology on behalf of the band, explaining that the snub had been unintentional. The apology was enough to appease the authorities, and the Beatles were allowed to leave the country. However, the damage had been done. The experience in the Philippines was a traumatic one for the band, contributing to their growing disillusionment with touring. The aftermath, a decision to stop touring. The incident in the Philippines was a turning point for the Beatles. Already weary from the demands of constant touring and the pressures of fame, the violent encounter in Manila added to their resolve to stop performing live. Later that year, after completing their tour of the United States, the Beatles made the momentous decision to retire from touring altogether. They would never perform live again as a band, instead focusing their energy on studio recordings and pushing the boundaries of music production. A legacy marred by controversy. The Beatles' experience in the Philippines remains one of the most infamous episodes in the band's history. It serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable and often dangerous nature of fame, especially in the politically charged atmosphere of the 1960s. While the Beatles continued to create groundbreaking music in the years that followed, their encounter with the Marcos regime left a lasting scar, influencing their decision to retreat from the public eye and redefining their approach to their career. The 1966 incident in the Philippines is more than just a footnote in the Beatles' storied history. It is a pivotal moment that shaped the trajectory of one of the greatest bands of all time.